This press run from Steve Kerr is absolutely nasty. I would say diabolical, but that's a little bit too cringe, right? It's absolutely nasty because this was Steve Kerr earlier on this year when it came to Jonathan Kuminga, when he was so happy when he was dropping about 30 points, when he was fitting in the system. This was him. Take a look.
JK has just really figured it out, and the game has slowed down for him, and he's understanding now when to attack, how to attack. Thought he made some good passes tonight. He's just so powerful and explosive going to the rim, and I think he's just seeing the floor better than ever. And he's this last month, I think he's really broken through, and it's just been amazing to watch because, it's 2.5 years of a lot of work and ups and downs, and he's stayed with it the whole time. And I'm so impressed with what he's done, and he's really becoming a hell of a player.
And I could agree with that. It seemed like a light switch went off in Jonathan Kuminga, and all of a sudden he was averaging about 25 to 30 points a game. I even won some money on a couple of those games because I'm like, boy, this guy is on a heater. He dropping at least 25 tonight. So boom, they draft Jimmy Butler, who essentially took her job, right? He took his job 100%. There's no doubt about that. And all of a sudden, to Steve Kerr, Jonathan Kuminga was Eric Snow. He turned this man into Eric Snow. The narrative started to go out. He can't pass. He can't rebound. Oh, when he drops 30 points, the team still loses. The goalpost just kept getting moved and moved and moved and moved. And it didn't seem like anybody was coming to the defense of Jonathan Kuminga. He even did certain things like disable his comments on his Instagram just due to the rabid, casual Golden State Warrior or basketball fan essentially harassing this young man, right? And throughout this entire time, Draymond Green went from, we have to support our young guys, right? We have to, they sent the G League players back and now they brought them back. All that type of stuff went out the window. And now Draymond Green is essentially saying, listen, he's going to get his bag here or somewhere else. He pretty much is getting the Clay treatment. And, honestly, it is good advice because he's a grown man. He can make his own decisions. But it doesn't seem like anybody is, again, sticking up for Jonathan Kuminga with all these narratives that are going around. And now with this press run going on with Steve Kerr. So essentially what they did to Jonathan Kuminga, it's kind of like this, right? You get into a slip and fall at work, right? You get workers' comp, you do the whole thing, you go home, you heal. In the meantime, they hire somebody to take your position, right? And they're like, oh yeah, you'll be fine when you come back, right? No more cubicles in the office when you come back. The pictures of your kids are ripped down and it's a box in the middle of the hallway. And they say, we're going to find you a spot. Don't worry, right? But for right now, you got to work in the janitor's closet. And they try to make it seem like you are the worst employee when you're like, oh, before I got hurt, before the slip and fall, I was about to be employee of the month for the second time in a row. That's essentially what they did to Jonathan Kuminga. So let's get to playoff time, right? Playoff time was interesting. Like I said, the acquisition of Jimmy Butler, right? It definitely turned the season around. There's no doubt to make it. This guy, he's a superstar, right? No doubt about it. Was he worth what he got paid? I don't know. Because when it got time to playoffs and Curry got hurt, the second option, it became Jimmy Butler, right? Because he's the next star. And the things that Jimmy Butler would do instead of taking over the game. So in comes Jonathan Kuminga, dropping about 20 to 30 points, right? In some games, he's absolutely taking over the game more than Jimmy Butler. That was like the first game they played him. And he got exposed. Steve Kerr got exposed for all the lies that he was saying. Talking about this kid can't perform. He just got exposed flat out. And then you started to hear, again, why is Kuminga not playing? He played more and played more. But again, he was a bit more aggressive to me than a Jimmy Butler. It even got to the point the commentators were calling it out. Jimmy Butler driving to the bucket, passing it and kicking it out to nobody. Kicking it out to people who are not in rhythm, who don't have a shot. Of course, it is very important to get your guys going, right? In basketball, you got to get your whole team going. But you have to be aggressive when you're down, when you want to keep your team in the game. And that's honestly what it is. And I don't think Jimmy Butler was doing that. I don't know if it was intentionally. I know some people were going to be like, he's hurt. Oh, he wasn't playing. He wasn't 100%. I think that series really opened up people's eyes. A lot of the narrative stopped. I mean, people are still going to talk about the narratives like, oh, he doesn't play defense. Like he didn't lock down Jalen Green in the Houston series. Oh, like he didn't get blocks in the Minnesota series, some big time blocks in the Minnesota series. Like I said, the goalpost is just going to continue to be moved and moved and moved. So yes, he's back at it again, making dumb comments. Boogie, DeMarcus Cousins chimed in on this. Gilbert Arenas and his podcast crew have chimed in on this, talking about what is actually going on, the contract situation, how things are actually going. And it just kind of is weird. It seems like there's a personal vendetta. And again, Steve Kerr was cheering on the sidelines when he had to play him in the Minnesota series. Literally cheering on the sidelines like, thank God somebody's scoring.
Kuminga set up for three. Kuminga rattles one in. Great pass here by Butler.
To now bashing Jonathan Kuminga again. A lot of people think that he should just leave the team because Steve Kerr is on some weird stuff.
I've been asked to win. Right now, he's not a guy who I can say I'm going to play 38 minutes. Doesn't mean he's not a really good player. Doesn't mean he's not talented. It just means the fit. And with the roster that we have, the game is about the puzzle fitting. It's about 5 guys complementing one another. Everybody's going to be happy, whether it's the fans or the players. It's just, I got to do what I think is best.
You know what I think Steve Kerr likes, man? I think that he should just hire a bunch of old guys who have been through the ringer and made their name, because that's what he wants. He doesn't have the time nor the patience to help a TJD or Jonathan Kuminga get better. He'll take the time for a Pods. He'll take the time for Pajemski. People don't know what it is. Maybe they remind each other of each other. That's what people have been saying. He'll take the time and give him a longer leash, but the rest of the guys, he ain't with it. He's not giving them the time of day. He's not letting them develop. And it's kind of like the old video stores. I don't know if you guys remember VHSs, right? You get a tape, you rent the tape, and you rewind it. You have to be kind and rewind. And Steve Kerr is not rewinding. He doesn't care about what happens to the legacy after the Warriors, it seems, at least to me. He seems like he only cares about the right now, which is Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler. And these guys probably got like a couple of years left. These new guys coming up in the system have not been developed. It is clear to see. And that is why Steve Kerr is terrible with developing new talent. I mean, I know some of you guys are going to say, yo, Steve Kerr developed Steph, Dre, and Clay. And honestly, I don't think that's true. There's even been people coming out on podcasts recently talking about what the real is when it came to Golden State Warriors. As far as Mark Jackson is the one who put that battery pack in Steph's back, talking about the one-on-one matchups he had to do with Chris Paul. He said, listen, if you don't go at Chris Paul, we are not going to win the game.
You know, because I remember Steph used to not want to do one-on-one battles with Chris Paul. And Mark Jackson used to make him like, hey, the only way we're going to beat them if you go at him. And that was, you know, and Steph, that was all Steph needed for real, was that little battery in his back.
Now, do you think any other player on the team is getting that benefit of the doubt or getting coached that way? Pajemski may be getting coached that way. His boy may be getting coached that way. But he's not giving the same luxuries to the rest of the players. So to me, this is either some business stuff going on behind the scenes, which, I mean, it's kind of hard to believe that too, because, I mean, Joe Lacob was just sitting courtside with Kuminga. And maybe they were talking business. Maybe he was kind of smoothing some things over. Who knows, right? Or the other thing that it could be is it could be personal, which a lot of people are believing that it could be personal at this point, because there's no reason why you're not playing some of these guys and you've been getting exposed. You know how I do want to see develop really badly, because I think he's a really good piece, but I mean, the boy needs to learn how to dribble a little bit more and develop a jump shot or something like that. Trace Jackson Davis, man. Ooh. If he develops, I think he could be something crazy in the league. But we haven't seen that development yet. So maybe, I don't know. We'll see, right? I think we need to start calling a spade and actually say what it is. Steve Kerr is terrible when it comes to developing young talent. You can throw out all the stat sheets you want, zero rate, the percentage of win. He is terrible with developing young talent. You got a couple of gems. I'm not saying Wiseman was a gem, but you did have Eric Pascal, right? This guy went through the system balling. He said the same thing about him. Next thing you know, he was off the team. It seems like he doesn't care about young players. It seems like he only wants the vets. He wants the Sean Livingstons, the Andre Iguodala's. And honestly, let's be real. A lot of these guys are balling out of control. For example, Derek White, he's been talked about, leaving Boston. They want to get him. He can't be doing the stuff where he plays them, takes them off the bench, plays them. You have to have a deep bench in today's NBA. And that's what I said, where he seems like he's stuck in his ways. He don't understand that. He doesn't understand that. And this Steph ball is no longer going to work. You see what happened in the Rockets series. They locked down Steph. And then when you pass the ball and shoot to somebody, or somebody else has to get involved in offense, nothing's happening. You can stick Kuminga out there. He can get you points, but him alone is not going to secure a W. It is a team game. So these people talking about, oh, he scored high points, but they didn't win. It's a team game. And honestly, if they keep going this route and he keeps scaring off young talent, Golden State Warriors may be cooked. I don't know, though. It's your boy UBEZERK, a.k.a. Shogun UBEZERK. What do you think of Steve Kerr? Let me know in the comment section below. If I missed anything or you want to hear anything else talked about, be sure to let me know. Subscribe and tap into the channel. We're on the road to 1,000 subs.